Hello, my friends out there. Good evening and welcome to today's program. This platform is called Become a Better Man. Become a Better Man. My name is Tunde Disu. It's an honor for me to have you on this platform today, and I know it's going to be another wonderful program. And over the past few weeks, we have been looking at this particular topic. We're still on it. We haven't finished. Like I said at the beginning, it is a loaded topic, and we're trying to get as much out of it as possible. And you will agree with me that over the past few weeks, some of the topics, some of the angles that we've looked at with respect to how to handle the difficult people, the unreasonable people in our lives, either at home, at work, at church, in the playground, on the road, in the office, wherever you are, wherever there are people, there are usually difficult people who just want to make things a little bit difficult for you, who just want to be a thorn on your flesh, that just, it's like they have a God-given assignment to just make things slightly uncomfortable for you. But you see, they can try. They can really try. But the good thing is, once we have the tools, we have the knowledge, we have the tools, we have the resources on how to deal with them, on how to handle them, on how to manage the situation, and how to, in most cases, turn the table against them, we will have a peaceful and a comfortable life. So all we've been doing over the past few weeks is to look at the different areas of our lives where we have the tendency of bumping, of interacting, of living, of working, of fellowshipping with these people that are just out there to make things slightly uncomfortable for us. So that is the same topic that we're still continuing on this week. I want to welcome my good friends, Jocelyn Kaizawe and Tunde Akinwumi. Thank you so much for joining me. And please, let's click the share button and let's start sharing as we are joining. Last week, we looked at one very specific area about how to handle difficult people. And we were looking at these difficult people that we have in our families. And I said something, I said, every family has got one. And maybe I am the one in my family, or you could be the one in your family. And we looked at how to handle them, how to deal with them. And I'm sure if you have been putting some of what we covered into practice, you'll have probably started seeing the differences that it will make to you and to the people in your life. Today we're looking at something still in the same thread of thought, but we're looking at how to handle difficult bosses. The people in your office, the people in your workplace, the people in your life that you work with. But they have a superiority edge over you because of the office, because of the title, because of the responsibilities they carry, and you are made to submit to them. Now, there's nothing wrong in that. Wherever there are two people, one will always be superior to the other. There's nothing wrong with that. It's part of life. Because while you have these people that are superior to you, you also have people that you are superior to in your workplace. So what goes around comes around, as they say. But you'll agree with me that in some offices, you'd rather not go there because the boss is there, or there's a particular boss, or there's a particular manager, there's this specific supervisor that is set out just to make things slightly difficult for you. Afolabi, thank you. Otilo Tunde, wow, long time, thank you. Matthew Essong, thank you for joining me. Let's go and quickly click the share button and let's start sharing it. So today we're looking at how to handle the difficult manager or supervisor or boss or or MD or director, whatever the title is it doesn't matter. The key issue here is this is a person, by virtue of your working environment, have a superiority level over you, has his position, his title, his responsibilities make him to be somebody that you have to submit to, somebody you have to look up to, somebody you have to respect and take instructions from. There's nothing wrong in that, as long as it doesn't become a pain. That person doesn't turn himself or herself to the thorn in your body. And that's what we'll be looking at today. Thank you, Olaton Rewaju. The reality is this, ladies and gentlemen. We as human beings, for those of us that are within the working age, people who still have work and go to the office or go to a workplace, the reality is we spend the better part, in fact, the longest part of our productive lives are spent in our workplace. We leave home about 7, we resume work between 8 and 9, and in most cases, we don't leave the office till about 5 p.m. Now, you'll agree with me that between 9 and 5 is the most active, the most productive, in most cases, time of our lives. And we spend this period in the company of these people that we work with, that we call our colleagues, that we are pursuing the same goal and the same vision with as far as the company is concerned. But in the midst of all of that, there is this particular one. There is this particular person. There is this particular group of people that are just making things difficult. And those are the people we'll be looking at tonight. Rita Haire George, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you, ma'am. Going to work, working is enough issue on its own. Doing it day by day, from morning till evening, it has become part of your life. It is what you do. You just wake up and you go for it. You come home, you're thinking about it. You sleep at night, you're still talking about it. Your phone is ringing. Somebody is asking you about the office. Somebody is asking you about, have you finished that report? What's happening to that project? Have you spoken to that customer? And you never stop working. As hard as that is, there is nothing that is more destructive, more demoralizing, more demotivating, more aggravating than having to spend that time and having to spend that part of your life with somebody who is making things difficult for you. Hi, Kempton. Thank you for joining us. Difficult bosses are, in some cases, people you don't even want to have. Do you know that a lot of people who leave their work, who resign or move on from their job or from their position, who decide to join another company or change their career altogether, relocate to the other side of the world, or for whatever reason, statistically, most of them were not planning. They are not happy leaving the job or resigning from that organization. Most of them are leaving. They are moving away so that they can live and move away from difficult boss, a difficult supervisor, a difficult manager, a difficult director. And the effect of having to work under such condition is very stressful. It is very, very stressful. And that is why one of the common illness these days that is not very well spoken about is work-related stress. And the fact is, most of them are not related to the actual work that you are doing. Most of them are a result of either the environment where you're working or the people that you're working with. especially the one that you report to, the one that supervises you, the one that gives you instruction, the one that checks your work, the one that will evaluate you and validate you and make a decision over your future career-wise. Difficult bosses, they are a pain, but we have them. So what do we do with them? What can we do with these people? But before we go into that, let me ask you this question. And for those of us that are already on the platform tonight, I would like your response to this question. What would you rather have? What will be your preference of these two options? Option one, would you rather have a regular paying job with a good, understanding, encouraging, challenging, and respectful boss? If I can get it out of my mouth, respectful boss. Or would you rather have a good and excellent paying job with a nasty, a demeaning, disrespectful, and a bullying boss? What would you rather have? Good News Outreach, thank you, sir, for joining me. Samson Chijioke, thank you so much. I appreciate your being on the platform tonight. So the question is, what would you rather have? Have a job that pays you just the regular pay rate, but you are working with a good, understanding, encouraging, challenging, and respectful boss? Or would you rather have a job that is paying good money, excellent money, but then your boss is nasty, is demeaning, is disrespectful, is a bully, he's everything that you would rather not have, but then you have a good pay? What would you have? What would you have? Because, don't let me answer it. I'll let you answer it. Which of these two options would you rather have? The first option or the second option? You see, dealing with less than effective bad managers or bad bosses is a challenge that too many employees faces at work these days. Some of the people you report to, some of the people that are supervising your work, some of the people above you, you look at their ability, you look at their experience, you look at their intelligence, and you're asking yourself, how did this happen? A bad manager, Junaid Olumide said he preferred the first one. A good job in a very good environment. Thank you, sir, ma'am. I appreciate that. Olushola Andrew Mole, thank you for joining me. A bad manager or a bad boss, these are some of the ways they emit, they just transmit. They never recognizes your excellent performance or that of others in the office. They are just blind to it. They can't see it. Some of them will never provide you positive feedbacks. They are always looking for, what have you not done? Why did you do it wrongly? Why is it not adding up? Why is that report not? But the other things that you do, they don't get to see them. Some of these bad bosses or bad managers, they will miss every meeting that they schedule with you. We're going to meet to do your review and all of that. And every time they will tell you something more important than you has just come up. Therefore, that meeting can't hold. Some of them just, you see the true nature of who they are when they are under pressure. Every little pressure, they start shaking, they are quivering and just almost passing out, sweating. And then they take that pressure, they take that out on you and other members of the workforce. Some of them will fail to support you in accomplishing the task that they have given to you, the target they have set for you, the job they have assigned for you. When you need them to support you in achieving that, you can't find them. They're nowhere to be found. But this particular one is perhaps one of the worst bosses or managers or leaders in every sphere of life. These are the managers or the bosses that would take credit for the hard work that you do. They will not lift a finger. You will do the hard work and they will take the credit for it without even acknowledging the fact that you had any role to play in the whole episode. I don't know if you know anybody like that. I don't know if you have worked with any boss like that. Maybe even right now you are under such person. I'm not asking for names. I'm just letting you know it happens to all of us. The reality is this. Some bosses, some managers, some supervisors, they inadvertently found themselves, they stumbled into this category of bad bosses. Not because they are bad in themselves, but because they fail to provide clear direction. They won't give you feedback. They will not recognize your contribution. They will not even set specific, clear goals for you so that you know what you are pursuing. But they will turn around and crucify you for not delivering on the assignment that was not clearly stated out for you in the first place. Some of these people, they found themselves in that position and they're trying to make the best of it. However, there's this other group of people who are just nasty. They are just bad. They are bad news. They are the worst thing since Cruella de Vil. These people are bad. They are bullies. They are nasty. They will call you names. They will physically, emotionally, psychologically, even sexually harass, challenge, abuse, and just make life difficult for you. Whichever aspect, whichever of these two groups that this boss or manager or supervisor is, they're making life difficult for you. But there's a way out. The good news is there is a way out. And that is what we'll be exploring on this platform tonight. What can you do? How can you handle? How can you help these people to help you? These are some of the things, time permitting, that we'll be covering tonight. But whatever we can't cover tonight, don't worry, we'll continue next week. Because the feedbacks that I'm getting concerning this topic that we've been looking at, they are very encouraging. Because these are areas that a lot of people are not talking about. They don't even know who to turn to. They don't know where to go to seek or find help. Now, what are some of the characteristics of these bad and difficult bosses? What are some of their characteristics? Number one, they use disciplinary measures inappropriately. They will use disciplinary measures inappropriately. When simple, positive communication, one-on-one, look, let's sit down and talk about this, when that will solve the problem. Rather, what they will do is they will slap you with a big, long query. They will recommend you for demotion. They will tarnish your record. They will fill your employee file with so many letters of queries, of suspensions, of this, of that. They use disciplinary measures inappropriately. Bad bosses, they ignore who you are, what your contribution is. They will not even pay attention until something goes wrong. Then they will jump on you like, where did they come from? They will seek out, all they're looking for is who is guilty. Let's put it that way. They are looking for who is guilty so that they can jump on the person. Have you ever been in a situation where you look at the issue at hand, the so-called offense, the so-called error or omission or whatever, and you weigh that against the punishment that is being levied, that is being met out, and you're wondering, why do you want to kill an ant with a sledgehammer? Things must be done inappropriate measures. Some of these bad bosses, they will not allow you as a staff, as an employee of the organization, to either respond to the accusation or give your views about what is going on, or even pass a comment about why it is so. They are the prosecutor, they are the judge, they are the jury, they are the jailer, they are the parole board, all roll into one. They will intimidate you, they will bully you, they will shout at you, they will open their eyes at you, they will speak rudely, they will make working life difficult. They will make it so difficult for you, start to wonder, is it really worth it to be in this office, to work in this environment? Irene, thank you, ma'am. You're welcome, ma'am. Bad bosses don't reward, like we've said. They will not recognize or reward your positive contribution to the overall goal of the department, of the unit, and the organization as a whole. They will take credit for what you have done. They will slap and stamp their name on every success story going about, irrespective of what you contributed or what you did to achieve that. They will not even accept if there is for instance, say there's a departmental meeting and you're talking about, okay, how can we do this? How can we make this better? How can we improve on this standard? And the moment you open your mouth, they jump at it. They will not let you contribute. They will not allow you to give constructive criticism to the system, not to the person, but just to the issue at hand. They will not allow that to happen. Most difficult bosses and managers and supervisors, they lack integrity. Do you know why I say that? They break their promises easily, and most of them are dishonest. You can't hold them down to a specific word, a specific promise, a specific assignment or goal. They are slippery. They are everywhere. Before you say good morning, the whole story has changed. Igbekele Oluwatosin, thank you, ma'am, for joining me. Having said all of this about these bad bosses, having explained some of this issue about these bosses, but do you know that sometimes, even in our very good self, with our excellent intentions and our wonderful actions, some of us created these monsters in the first place? And I'm going to explain that before you cock your gun. I am going to explain how you and I, inadvertently, we have created some of these bad bosses or bad monsters, especially the micromanaging bosses, those that are always hanging over your shoulder. What's going on there? What are you saying? Did you say that? How is it going? They are all over you like a rash. Some of them are as a result of what we have done over time that has led them to be in that position. And quickly, I'm going to run through some of these areas or some of these practices that we do as employees or as workers that has led these managers to become mean and nasty. Now, am I excusing their wrongdoings? No. I'm just saying some of these blames, some of these issues are results of our own actions or inactions. Number one, when you fail to pay attention to details in your work, you force your supervisor or your manager to constantly be on your case, especially in an area where they have corrected you over and over and over and over again, and you keep making the same mistake over and over and over again. You have left that manager or that supervisor or that boss with no other option than to jump at you and ask you, are you for real? What am I trying to say? we need to do our jobs, but not just to do it so that we can go home at 5. We need to do it in such a way that we can put our name on it. We can stand behind it, hand on our chest, and say, yes, this is my handiwork. But if you give your boss, your manager, the opportunity, the position, the privilege to constantly correct you on the same thing, you're going to make life difficult for yourself, because you are making life difficult for him or her. Because he or she is now having to redo what you're supposed to have done. What you are supposed to have done, they are now having to redo it and do it over. You might as well not be there. You might as well not be there. Another way where we create these monsters is when we spend company time doing personal stuff. Now, there is no way you can be in the office from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and not do something personal. If anybody argues with that, they need to be examined. It's all, at the worst, you will think about your family. But when you spend company time, when you spend the time that you have been employed and paid for, when you spend that time checking your messages and your Twitter and your WhatsApp and your Facebook and your Instagram and chatting and pretending to be looking at the email from admin department to see what the spreadsheet says, when you can do that on your computer. When your boss or your manager finds you doing that over and over again, they're going to ask you, are you here or you're at home? And for as long as you keep repeating that, you are giving that manager or that leader or that supervisor the opportunity, the ammunition to come after you. Another way that you do that is when you ignore specific instructions. You see, one of the privileges of leadership is that as a leader, you get to know about issues more than the people you are leading. So when a manager or a supervisor comes to you and says, look, John, I want you to do this project. I want you to work on this assignment. But this is how I want you to do. I want you to do A, then do B, then do D, then do E before you do C. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Are you sure? Do you want me to go over it? A, B, D, E, and then C. Say, yeah, I got it. Thank you. And then you take that job, you go to your office, you look through the whole thing and you think, oh, that guy doesn't know what he's saying. I'll just do A, B, C, D, E. That's very sequential. It just goes along the... Now, it might be sequential. It might be symmetrical. But that wasn't the instruction. So when you willingly, when you go out of your way to ignore specific instructions, you are giving your boss the weapon to come after you. So we've talked about you making the same mistake or the same error over and over and over again. We've talked about spending time that you're supposed to be working, you're spending it doing nothing, watching what's happening on Facebook. We've talked about when you fail to follow specific instruction. Another one that, as a leader, that will get, or as a worker rather, that will get your leader to shout at you and chase you down the corridor, is when you don't respond on time. There is something called the discipline of follow-up and follow-through. The follow-up and follow-through discipline. When your manager is having to chase you for update on an assignment that they have committed to you, when they are having to call you at 8 p.m. to say, where is the report? I'm still in the office. You said it would be on my table. Where is it? And you keep doing that over and over again when you don't, because you must remember something. When an assignment has been given to you, it is along a long chain of actions. So when your action breaks the chain, it affects the ongoing life of the whole process. So don't give your manager the benefit, the opportunity to chase you around the house for updates, for follow up and follow through. Give it to them on time, every time. Dr. Akirele, thank you, sir, for joining me. My dear sister, Kenny Ogumbo Ale Rodriguez, I appreciate you all the way from Abuja. Welcome to this platform. Another way that you make your boss or your manager or your leader to become a pain in your life is when you refuse to accept responsibilities for your actions. You always have a reason. You always have an excuse. You are always very defensive. You are always pointing hand or pointing fingers to somebody else. Rather than you saying, do you know what? My fault. I dropped the ball. I'm sorry. Let me fix it. What can I do to change it? Is it too late? Can I still make a difference? Rather than say that, you say, well, you see, I was going to do it, but then the internet stopped working. And when the internet came back, the IT people, they've gone home. But when I got Brother Joseph, and you just make excuses and excuses and excuses without you saying, sir, I'm sorry, I didn't remember that it was almost 4 o'clock. And I know that by 4:30, the IT people will shut down so that they can do the backup. I'm sorry, it's my fault. If you would do that, your manager won't be on your case. But when you don't accept responsibilities, you don't accept your fault, then you're looking for trouble. Adekombi Adegbenro, I appreciate you, sir. Thank you for joining me. Another way where you make your boss or your manager to be a pain in your life is when you are somewhat unreliable. Now, what do I mean by that? You know definitely, this is just an example, that office work start at 8 or the office work time start at 9. You know that. But for whatever reason, excuse me, you stroll in at 9:45 and then you say, hi guys, how's it going? How was your weekend? Where were you last night? And when all your colleagues have been working since 9 a.m. and here you are with your good self coming in at 9:45 as if there's nothing to read. Or when you are entrusted with a responsibility and you don't deliver on it, when a secret is left with you and you make it a public consumption issue, you make yourself unreliable, and therefore your boss will have issues, and that issue will come hard, falling on your head. Abayomi Rabiu, thank you so much. Femi Akirele said, so true. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you. Please, I'd like to hear feedback from you. If what I'm saying, maybe in your work area, maybe it's not like that. Or maybe you are experiencing some of these bad bosses, some of these difficult managers, some of these supervisors that are just there they believe that their God-given assignment is to make life difficult for you. Let us hear what your experience is, your opinion, your views, especially with regards to some of the things we're talking about tonight. Having established what we've said so far, the next question is, how do you develop, or how can you develop an effective relationship with a boss, a manager, a supervisor that you have established by your own judgment and maybe corroborated with other members of staff that this person is a difficult leader, is a difficult boss, is a difficult manager? How can you develop an effective relationship with him without sucking up to him and licking his boot? How can you establish an effective relationship with him? Because remember, this person is your boss. he has more power, more authority, and he has maybe the whole organization on his side more than you do. So even when it comes down to he say, she say, your word against his, they're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, or give her the benefit of the doubt, because of his or her position over you. So how can you develop a working relationship, an effective relationship with this person that you have already established is a pain in your life? You see, the relationship that you create and manage with your boss is critical for your success and your career progress. Remember, they will evaluate you. They will put recommendation for you that to be promoted, either for you to get salary increment, either for you to be sent on the next training program, either for you to be demoted or to be fired. Now, I'm not saying, again, that you suck up to them because of all of that, but you can still create a working relationship with a difficult boss. You see, the truth is this: you and your boss, good or bad one, you and your manager, good or bad one, you and your supervisor, you have an interdependent relationship. What do I mean by that? Your boss, your manager, your supervisor, they have the information that you need to succeed and make career progress. But at the same time, they cannot fulfill their task. They cannot excel in their own commitment, in their own task and duties without you doing yours. Because ultimately, what they will report on, what they will be judged on, will not just be based on what they do in their office, but also what you do in your office that will reflect on them. So you can see the interdependency relationship there. But remember, as you can see, you need him more than. So, what can you do? Wisdom demands that you develop, or you find a way to develop this working relationship with this boss. So how do you do that? The number one way to do that is that you need to develop a positive, trustworthy working relationship with your boss. Now, I know you're going to tell me, well, Tunde, this guy is only if you know him. Yeah, I know. Only if I know him. I'm not doubting whatsoever that he's a terrible boss. I have no reason to question your judgment of his ability and his temperament. I have no reason to condemn that or to question that. But even in the midst of all of that, there is this glimmer of hope that you can develop a positive and trustworthy working relationship with this guy or this lady. If you don't want to do it for him, do it for yourself, your success, your career progress. I think it's worth it. So what do? Keep timeline commitments. When you and your boss, you've agreed on something, make sure that thing is delivered as you have agreed, when you have agreed, where you have agreed, with whom you have agreed. Don't blindside your manager or your boss, especially with things that are predictable, with results that are preventable. Don't catch him by surprise. Surprise? Really? You will be surprised yourself. Whatever you are doing in your office that relates to, that have interaction with other members of the organization, maybe a different unit, maybe a different department, maybe a different level, whatever dealings you have with them, keep your boss, keep your manager informed. What you don't want is a situation where, say you are in finance department and you are relating to somebody in the in the purchasing department, for instance, and between the two of you there has been interactions, maybe emails, maybe phone calls, and you haven't told your manager or your supervisor about it, but the other person told their manager or their supervisor. guess what? When managers and supervisors, when they meet at the level where they meet, the purchasing manager is going to be telling the finance manager, say, oh, by the way, Jane was talking to Bridget in our department, and they have established that they can do this, they will do this. In fact, I've seen the document. And your manager is like, no, she didn't. Oh, yeah. I can show you the trail of emails. This has been going on for the past 3 months. Now you have put your manager in a place where people are thinking, this guy don't even know what's going on in his department. So in order to avoid that embarrassment, because when he's embarrassed outside like that, you better not be in the office when he gets back, because he's coming down on you like a ton of bricks. So in order to avoid a situation like that, keep your manager informed, keep them up to date, let them know what is going on, especially with your work and how it relates to other departments. Also, be quick to admit to the boss when you make an error. Like I said earlier on, let the boss know immediately, sorry sir, it was an oversight. I should know better. How could I have missed that? Sorry, let me go and quickly make corrections. I promise you, before you can click the next mouse, the correction will be in your inbox. Don't start to point fingers and avoid responsibilities or try to shift blame to others. It will make your manager, your supervisor to not like you. Elizabeth Wuraola Adeshola, thank you, ma'am. Pastor Julian Richards, it's an honor to have you, sir. Appreciate you. Another way of developing a positive and trustworthy working relationship with your supervisor is don't lie to them. Don't try to mislead them. You see, the thing with lies is eventually the truth will catch up. And when that happens, you won't like the situation. It might cost you your job. Another thing you can do to develop this relationship with them is get to know them as a person outside of the work environment. One of the things I do in everywhere I have worked and I'm still working, not because I go out to do it, it's just my nature, is to develop personal relationship with the people that I work with. If you know me very well, you will testify to the fact that whenever I see you, whenever I talk to you, whenever we meet, I'm going to say, oh, hi, Jack, how are you? Good morning. The next thing I'm going to say is, how's the family? It has become a second nature for me to ask, how's the family? You see, not because I'm trying to get my nose into your business at home, no. But you see, when you show somebody that you care about him or her beyond the pushing of the envelopes but when you care for them as a person, guess what? They will reciprocate. They will turn that over and pay you back with the same coin. Another way you can work or try to establish a good relationship with your manager is you need to understand your boss's preferences. How do they like things done? What time of the day does he like somebody to knock on his door? When is the best time to approach him about this change in this project that I'm thinking about? Don't just think don't just think about it in your head and next thing you're banging on his door. Oh, sir, I think we need to change this thing. This is what I think. And when you do that, he's going to not listen to you. He won't hear you. But when you find out what are his preferences, how does he like things done? Again, let me use myself as an example. Everywhere I've worked, and I've worked with people and worked under leaders and bosses and managers, within the first week of me resuming in that position, I make it a point of duty to speak to my line manager, to speak to my boss or whoever, and I ask them the question, how would you like me to serve you? how would you like me to work with you? What are your preferences? Because the moment I establish the way you like things and I'm doing the way you like it, not because I'm sucking up to you, but because I am I'm creating room for myself, guess what? I won't have issues with you. But if you're the person that don't like red color, for argument's sake, you don't like red color, and everything I bring to you is painted red, we're going to be in trouble all day long. So find out what are the preferences of your boss and work with him. Don't hold grudge against your boss. It won't get you anywhere. It will not help you. In your relationship with your boss, you will have disagreement. You will have difference of opinion. You will have even situations where you are toe to toe and just going at it. Even when that happens, don't take it personal. Because the moment you internalize it and take it personal, you will start to hold grudge against the person. And the moment you start holding grudge against somebody, even if they are decorated in gold and silver, you can't see anything good in them. And because in your mind they are not good, whatever you are doing, your actions, your reactions, your contact with them is going to be tainted with that mentality that this person is bad. So don't hold grudge. If there are issues, find a way to resolve it. Another way you can establish a good working relationship with a difficult boss is to turn the table on him or her. How do you do that? Deliberately ask them for feedbacks on your work. Now, before you do that, be prepared. Because if it's not good, they will tell you. And don't say, well, I know they won't say anything good in my... No. But this is the good aspect of asking them for feedback. Adejobi, how are you, sir? Thank you. I appreciate you. This is the good part of you asking your boss for feedback. Sir, what do you think of that report last week? You think there are areas that could be polished and improved upon? What you are invariably doing is helping them to see the good and the effectiveness of your excellence in your contribution to the overall goal of the unit, the department, and the organization as a whole. When in reality, he or she may not have spotted it or may not even be bothered, can't even be bothered whether you decorated it in honey. But the moment you say, what do you think about that report last week? Do you think the figures I showed as the net profit, do you think that is realistic? Or now you are forcing him or her to pay attention to your being effective and being part of the team that is making the organization go places. And guess what? Such instances will remain with him until the day that you are sitting in front of him or her for your annual review. They will remember that. They might forget everything, but they will remember what you pointed out inadvertently, without even saying, I'm pointing you to, you need to pay attention to that. No, you're just saying, what's your feedback? Make your boss, not just your boss, turn them to a coach and a mentor. Everybody, every human being, I don't care who you are, every human being likes people to praise them, to expect from them, to make them feel they can add value to you. Once you are able to establish that, you are home and dry. You are home and dry. How are we doing? How are we doing? Daddy Olabo Delale, thank you, sir, for joining us. Now, one of the worst set of leaders or managers or supervisors or whatever you want to call them in any working environment are the bullies. There are some bosses, some managers, some supervisors, their middle name is bully. And you remember on this platform, maybe the last 2 weeks, we've talked about who bullies are. Most bullies are just insecure. Pure and simple. They are just insecure in who they are and in themselves. And in an attempt to cover up that insecurity, in an attempt to cover up that low self-esteem, they pounce on people they perceive to be weaker and make life difficult for them, knowing that in doing that, the attention won't be on their own insecurities and insufficiency and lack. So bullies are exactly the same thing, irrespective of where they are manifesting. So in a work environment where you have a bully as a boss, what do? How do you handle them? We all have bosses who are difficult to deal with. Those who are inconsistent or unprofessional. Bosses who will put you in a no-win situation. They will backstab you, they will backbite you, they will backkick you, they will do anything to make things difficult for you. Ultimately, these people, they are just bullies. They are just bullies. So how do you deal with your difficult bully boss? Number one, be proactive. Be proactive. Hope Monday Ekanem. Thank you, sir, for joining me. Be proactive. The best way to deal with a difficult boss is to have a plan of action in place. What do I mean by that? Your boss you don't establish that he's difficult on the very first day you start to work with him or her. Dr. Ologwebi, appreciate you, sir. Thank you. You come to the conclusion that this boss or this manager is a difficult person, is a pain, is a thorn. After you have worked with him or her over a period of time, you have established a pattern that has brought you to that conclusion that this person is a difficult person. Therefore, go back to that same track record of the patterns that you have established to make a plan. Be proactive in approaching the situation with a positive mental attitude. What do I mean by that? Over time, you will have established that in issues like this, in situations like this, at this junction, this is how he will react. This is what he will do. This is what she will say. This is the people she will refer to. You will have established that over time. Therefore, you prepare yourself. Be proactive. Display confidence and stay poised. So, you see, at the end of the day, bullies take on people they think are weaker. But when you are poised and you are not shaking, you carry yourself with some iota, some level of confidence and refusing to be a pushover. The key to anticipating your boss behavior is to have an action plan ready. You know that every Tuesday when you have the staff meeting, as soon as somebody mentions something about the canteen, this is what he's going to do. Prepare yourself. If possible, if you need be, write it down on a piece of paper. If he starts talking about canteen issue along this way, this is what I am going to say. This is what I am going to do. That's being proactive. If the boss if you then get to that meeting and he start to manifest that bullying tactics where he's now shouting and punching and pointing and howling and growling at people, that's not the time you start thinking, oh, what do I do now? What do I say now? How am I going to say that? No. You were a Boy Scout. You came prepared. You've already marked out your strategies of how you are going to interact. Once they manifest that, you know what to say. However, if you get to that meeting and that instant, that issue or that situation comes up and the boss was just relaxed about it, not his usual or her usual shouting and screaming person, After the meeting, walk up to him or her and say, oh, that was a good meeting. I really enjoyed that. What you are doing is you are saying, I'm not just looking out for the bad aspect of you. I'm so happy that you are changing. And I'm encouraging you to go along the line of this change. Because ultimately, you will be the beneficiary of his changed self. Another way of being proactive, like I said, is to be prepared. What do I mean by that? You anticipate what he is going to do, how he is going to do it, when he's going to do it. You could write things down, something like, if, for instance, this boss is a bully that will just shout at you at the drop of the hat and just make you feel like you are just that little winny bitty tiny thing, you could write down in your piece of paper, this is what I'm going to say. For instance, you could say something like, even if you have to read it from the paper, it shows that you have come prepared. Say, sir, when you do that, when you talk to me like that, it's very demotivating, you know. It doesn't help my morale. I won't be able to produce maximally for this department, and ultimately you, because you are the head of this department. If you keep talking me down like that, you're not helping me. That can and if it persists and it continues, you can take it to the next level where you now make him realize you're my boss, but ultimately we are both employees of this organization. This is how you do that. After you've tried the first method and he's continuing, you can say, with all due respect, sir, or with all due respect, ma'am, that kind of behavior is unacceptable. This is a professional environment. Now, he wasn't or she wasn't expecting that. He's going to come out with one or two responses. It's either going to shock him or her into holding himself or herself back, or they're going to come down on you like a ton of brick. But because you're already prepared, because you're already expecting that, because you know that is a possible outcome, it won't catch you by surprise. It will not be a surprise to you. But ultimately, what it has done is perhaps it has given a voice to all the people that are being bullied. Because after that meeting, you'll be amazed how many people will come and tap you and say, well done. You're very courageous. Because everybody has been thinking of standing up to this man or this woman, but nobody has had the courage or be prepared or be proactive enough to do it. But the moment you do it, you open the floodgate. You'll be surprised. The next meeting, somebody else is going to stand up and say, I'm sorry, I can't listen to this. I'm out of here. Because you have been proactive and you have prepared and you have taken the courage to do what you have prepared to do. Another thing you must also bear in mind is, again, you could have a team of people that will follow you in that crusade, which is great. But at the same time, you could have a team of people that will turn their back on you to say, hey, you're on your own. Whichever way, because you have prepared for it, because you have thought about it, you have planned about it, it won't catch you by surprise. So that's one of the ways you can tackle a bully. Another way is that you can be professional. You can be professional in your approach. What do I mean by that? Remember, both of you are employees. It's just that he or she has a higher position or responsibility than you. It doesn't take away from the fact that you all filled an application one day, went through an interview, and were given letter of appointment. Therefore, there is a professional way of handling such a thing. You go back to the person that employed both of you via the human resources unit, if you have one, to say, this is going on, this is happening, it's big, it is affecting me. It is affecting my ability to produce, to deliver maximally. And I know it is affecting others, but I'm here to speak about myself. Go to the Human Resources Department. Send a letter to the director. Let somebody above him or her be aware of what is going on. Because most of the time, the people at the top don't know what is going on the grass level. Another way of dealing with, sorry, before I get to the next one, when you do that, give it time. You might see a change in him or her, and that is an indication that somebody high above has spoken to him or her about the situation. But if you wait and there is virtually no change, everything just game as usual, it means the organization itself is not doing anything about it. There is a law in the land. Seek redress if you need to. But get all your facts and figures and records and paper trail together if you choose to go down the legal way. Another way of dealing with a bully is you have to be persistent. Your boss is not going to change on the very first day you said, look, I can't take this anymore. You won't talk to me like that. I'm a human being too. You need to give me some respect. If nothing else, the fact that I am a human being. Now, you're not going to say that on Monday and then on Tuesday he's going to change and become Father Christmas. So be persistent. Know what you are pursuing. Know what you are going for. And keep at it. Keep at it. Keep at it. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. One bite at a time. Eventually, you will bite through. Be persistent in calling out your boss's bad behavior, either to him or to others. Some of your workers, if need be, get find out what their experiences have been with this person, so that it won't be just like, oh, it's only you, oh, it's only me. Why is it just the two of you? Maybe it's something. No. Usually, bullies don't stop with one person. They have track records. They have trails along. They have blood trails along the way of the people they have bullied. They have trampled upon and mishandled. Get your facts together. The key is to not let your boss get away with continuing with his or her bad behavior. When you do that, you will find solace. You will find liberty. You will find freedom. You will find peace in your work environment, especially where a bully is concerned. My time is up, guys. Oh, I could just go on and on and on and on. I don't know if this is helping anybody out there. If you have gained anything from this tonight, please let me know. Say something. It would be good to have a feedback from you on what you feel or how you think or what this has been or has meant to you in any way, form, or shape. Pretty Boss or Shivo Ale, thank you, man, for joining us. If anything I have said tonight has just anchored in you or with you, you can relate to, you can yes and amen it, just let me know. It'll be good for me to know how this is adding value to you. Because ultimately, you must remember that this platform is to make all of us better than we were before. So it'll be good for me to know that we're going in the right direction. And the only way to do that, the only way to establish that is when I get feedback from you so that I know we're on the same boat together. Thank you, Rita. Rita said, very interesting. I appreciate that. While you are writing that, let me quickly say, I have been given the honor and the privilege of being invited as a guest speaker at the biggest Christian entrepreneurship event in the UK. That is a big honor. I am so blessed. I am honored to have been invited as a guest speaker at the biggest Christian entrepreneurship event in the UK. This event is coming up on the 28th of October. I am using this opportunity, this platform, to invite each and every one of you, all of you, be my guest at that event. Come and join me. The title, the theme of the event is Building Competitive Advantage for Your Business and Ministry. Building competitive advantage for your business and ministry. If you are not in business, you are in ministry. If you are in ministry, you are in business. If you are in business, you are in ministry. So it cuts across all of us. And I'm using this opportunity to invite you. Be my guest on the 28th of October at this event. And let's give birth to some new entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship ideas. Let's give birth to some ministries. Let's energize and equip and raise the hands of those that are already in business and in ministry. I'm not the only guest speaker. There'll be other notable, knowledgeable, influential guest speakers on the platform on that day. But I'm using this platform to invite you. Be my guest. Join me on the 28th of October at the biggest Christian entrepreneurship event in the UK, themed Building Competitive Advantage for Your Business and Ministry. I know you're wondering, so how do I get to know more about this? If you check on any of my social media handles, that is Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, the poster is there. Or you can call me, my number is there. Or you go to Eventbrite and just find the title of the event. You can register at Eventbrite. You can call me. I will help you with whatever it is. I just want us to be there and make it a special day for everyone. I look forward to seeing you at this event. I know it's going to be a blessing to all of us. Next week, we will continue on this topic, but next we'll be looking at how to work or working with a boss that is younger than you. I know that's a challenge for some of us that are 40 and above, when you start having to report to somebody that is younger than you. What are some of the challenges that poses, and what do you do? How do you handle that? How do you navigate that experience? So we'll be looking at that. Again, we'll be looking at specifically micromanaging bosses and managers. How do you handle them? What can you do to them? And we'll be looking at some of the difficult co-workers. There are different categories of co-workers and bosses that are difficult and unreasonable. So we'll be looking at some of this. These are some of the things we'll be looking at next week. I'm saying that so that you can start preparing, inviting people, telling people about it. And together, we can become better at who we are and what we do. Once again, I want to appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time out to be part of today's program. I honor you, appreciate you, thank you for honoring me, for being on the platform. Please, if you have not shared the program for tonight, just click the share button and let it go to all your contacts. You can send it as a message. You can go to my YouTube channel, copy the link and send it to all your contacts, like somebody did last week, and sent the link of the last week's program to all her contacts through I was so blessed when I heard about that. So let's go ahead and do that so that more and more people can know about these tools that we're giving out to live a better life. So until next week when we meet again, remember, we have a destination. We have a goal. We are on a mission. We are on a journey of discovery. And we will not stop. We will not throw in the towel. We will not retire or cave in until we arrive at that destination where both ourselves and the people around us will have no choice but to testify that surely these are better men and better women. Until next week, this is Sunday Disu once again saying thank you, God bless you, have a wonderful week, and don't forget the event that is coming up on the 28th of October. I look forward to seeing you there. God bless you. Bye-bye.